Hello everyone and welcome inside the Rogers Center for the final game, the fourth game of this series between the Kansas City Royals and the home team, the Toronto Blue Jays. They're wearing their beautiful teal jerseys for the second time this season, and they've looked pretty good in this series so far. The Blue Jays have, taking 2 of the first 3 games. After dropping 2 games in Philadelphia earlier, they come back with a vengeance on Friday and yesterday. So today we'll see Hyun-Jin Ryu now make another start in this first year with the Blue Jays.
Ryu's looked good in his 2 starts at home, but his last start on the road just came this past Monday against the Phillies. Went in there, a tough loss where he gave up 4 runs in 5 innings against a slightly weaker offense here in Kansas City. He's looking to get things back on track.
So we welcome you to the Virtual Jays Network. Jackson Farough alongside Drew Frank for the call. I'd like to thank Thomas West and Liam Crothers for stepping in and doing spectacular jobs filling in. But I am back after my little break, and I'm ready to watch and call some beautiful Blue Jays baseball. The roof is still closed, unfortunately, but it's going to be back here as we see Adalberto Mondesi step in. And he's in a 2-0 count now.
And we've seen all sorts of great pitching so far this series. 2 teams came in, both with winning records as a result of their pitching staffs, and we've seen a lot of great efforts both from starters and even in relief.
Mondesi swings on that one. It's over to second. Panic will get it, field and throw. So leadoff hitter is retired for Ryu and the Blue Jays here.
And for the Jays, their defense today looks a little different as a lot of the starters have the day off. So in the outfield from left to right, it'll be Derek Fisher, Teoscar Hernandez, and Anthony Alford. And on the infield, it's Vladimir Guerrero Jr. at third, Bichette at short, and Panic and Shaw at second and first. Behind the plate, it is Reese McGuire once again with Danny Jansen off his feet, DHing.
Danny Jansen, the number 3 hole today. Be interested to see what he can do. He's had a bit of a streak of cold at-bats recently. Ever since that New York Yankees series, been a little quiet. Be interested to see what he can do today. As you mentioned, Drew, DHing. And now Alex Gordon, the left fielder, the perennial left fielder really for the Royals. In a 2-1 count now to Ryu.
He's had a pretty quiet series so far. Got the day off to start the series, but he's back in here, 3rd day in a row, trying to see if he can get anything going here for the Royals, who have had a pretty quiet offensive series.
Fouls off the pitch, into the seats, and it's a 2-2 count now. Ryu looking to have a good start to this one, of course, and he gets a swing and a miss there. Strikeout number 1 on the day. Certainly probably won't be the last for him as Gordon walks back to the dugout.
And in his last start, he had fewer strikeouts than in his home starts where he looked a little bit better, and a result of that was because he just wasn't missing as many bats. He wasn't able to change speeds quite as successfully. Only ended up with 4 strikeouts on the day while walking 3, and that ratio is not good enough for an ace of a rotation.
Yeah, his first real blemish on his resume with the Blue Jays in his very early tenure in Toronto. And listen, those are gonna happen. Of course, every pitcher has those, but it's about how you respond. And I think we're gonna see what Ryu has in store today, as that one's hit into right field. So Whit Merrifield with the Royals' first base hit of the day, and it's a 2-out single.
Merrifield, a tough day for him yesterday, going 1 for 5 with a strikeout in the 9th. He was the last batter to face Giles, their last hope, and not able to get anything for them there.
Merrifield, a bit of a late bloomer. Debuted when he was 27 years old. And we see Jorge Soler, another late bloomer. Hit 48 home runs last year, the 2019 AL home run champ. But prior to last season, he had hit 12 home runs as a high in a season, as that one is over to first and to no avail there. But yes, a crazy offensive explosion for Jorge Soler, the former Cub, coming over in exchange for Wade Davis in the 2016 offseason. Takes high and inside there. It's a 2-0 count.
We saw that power on display yesterday with a massive home run out to left field. Drove in Alex Gordon for the only 2 runs that the Royals got across yesterday.
And he takes low, so it's a 3-0 count now.
And Soler showed off in the field as well. Had a strong throw to almost nail Grichuk at the plate on Thursday night, then Friday a beautiful diving catch.
And an excellent job by Ryu here to sneak a ball in there for a strike, so stays alive in the count here, Ryu does. It's 3-1. Ryu delivers, and it's swung on and fouled in the seats. Now a full count with 2 away for the Royals here in the first.
After Soler, there'll be Hunter Dozier, who looms on deck, followed by Maikel Franco, Ryan McBroom, Cam Gallagher, and Bubba Starling.
And a good battle here at the plate. A number of those names you just mentioned, Drew, making their first starts of this series. We'll see how they can fare today. As Soler takes that pitch low and outside. So a walk now here with 2 away for the number 4 hitter playing right field. So now it'll be Hunter Dozier up to the plate. He's playing third base today. And with 2 on and 2 out, he's got a chance to give the Royals a lead here.
And the reason he's got the runner in scoring position to try and bring home was because of a great battle by Soler. A tough pitch to lay off, especially with 2 strikes there for that final pitch, but a great eye to see it out of the zone and take his free 90 feet.
Free 90, you're right about that, Drew, as Dozier steps in, takes a first pitch strike on the inside part of the plate. In his last 9 games, he has 7 RBI, sitting right around 300. It sits at 298 currently, Dozier's batting average. And he's a guy who is expected now on this Kansas City team to deliver lots of offensive production. One of these young hitters who they are trying to get lots of at-bats to. Hitting number 5 today in an 0-2 count. Swings and misses there. Ryu has 2 strikeouts in the first inning and escapes, allowing first and second with 2 out. And so ahead to the bottom of the first, Bichette, Panik, and Jansen up here at Rogers Center. And welcome back to Rogers Center on the Virtual Jays Network. Now we'll see Jorge Lopez make his very first start of the season.
And he's got a tough matchup going against one of the best pitchers in the American League in Hyun-Jin Ryu. But Jorge Lopez, as you mentioned, his first start missed the first 2 rotation for the first 2 turns of the rotation because the Royals able to use those off days to use only 4 starters. And man, with how good their starters have been so far, you can't blame them.
Bichette swings and misses on that Lopez's very first pitch of this season. Pitch that missed just a little bit outside, but hey, it got that swing and miss from Bichette. The Royals defensively today, Mondesi at short, Cam Gallagher catching, Ryan McBroom plays first. They'll have Whit Merrifield at second, Hunter Dozier at third, Jorge Soler in right field, and Bubba Starling in center field with Maikel Franco DHing today. Bichette in a 1-2 count now to Lopez. Lopez deals, and he gets his very first strikeout of the season on his very first pitching appearance of the season. Very first batter faced, I should say, this season, but an excellent start for Lopez.
So far, so good. He's a pitcher that really uses his curveball a lot. You'll see him throwing it almost as much, or if not more than that fastball of his, and he'll mix it up with a changeup and a bit of a slider, but really expect him to be working quite often fastball, curveball.
Now we see Joe Panik. He's had a pretty good series, and he's hitting .364 on the year. OPS nearing 1,000. He's been an excellent fill-in second baseman, and he's doing just that today with regular first baseman for the Blue Jays, Cameron Biggio, getting the day off. The 2-0 to Panik, missing outside, so now it'll be 3-0 to the second baseman.
Panik really stood out Friday night, reaching base in 3 of his 4 plate appearances, including a big double and a walk to spark a rally in the 8th.
3-0 take and just hits the outside part of the plate, so it'll be strike number 1 to Panik. And Jorge Lopez deals and misses outside, so that'll get Panik on the base pass here. So 1 walk and 1 away for Lopez, as I mentioned, his first start of the season, and hasn't really been able to stick yet in the major leagues. He was traded to Kansas City in 2018 as part of a package from Mike Moustakas, and made 7 starts that year, but had a 6.33 ERA in those starts. So really, just hasn't been able to stick at the major league level. He deals a first pitch strike to Jansen, who's DHing today. And that off-speed pitch, the knuckle curve misses low, now a 1-1 count.
And for Lopez, now in his 3rd season of work with the Royals, hasn't been too pretty. You mentioned a tough start in 2018, and it continued into 2019, putting up another 6.3 ERA in a pretty large body of work. He pitched 123 innings for them, but wasn't able to really be overly effective.
And that one misses down, so it's a 2-2 count now to Danny Jansen, who has really cooled off since that Yankees series. 0 for 3 in this series, 1 for 7 versus Philly in that little 2-game interleague battle in the prior series that the Jays just had. And he swings and misses there, a strikeout for Lopez, who now has already 2 strikeouts in this first inning.
And a pair of strikeouts on the breaking balls on the outer half of the plate. A nice spot there. Gets Jansen to chase out of the zone. And Jansen's been pretty good to start the year so far at the plate. But the one thing that's really been a big flaw in his game has been the strikeout.
Vlad Guerrero Jr. fouls off that first pitch offering from Lopez there. And he's had a wonderful start to his season, hitting .288 with 3 homers, 9 RBI, and just that major bat in the lineup that the Blue Jays are counting on him to be. He's looked good defensively as well over there at the hot corner, third base, and he's in a 1-1 count now against Lopez here. Takes that one outside, now 2-1.
Yesterday, the Royals grounded into 4 double plays. 2 of them started by Vlad Guerrero as he ranged to his right away from second, then planted and made strong throws to start both of them. So, again, great defensive work by him so far.
Guerrero Jr. swings and misses on that breaking ball offering, and then he's able to swing on that one over to short. Mondesi Fields throws to second for the force out. So Lopez, in his first inning of work this season, gets no runs on the board yet as we head to the second inning here at Rogers Center. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Virtual Jays Network. Jackson Farough, joined by Drew Frank in the broadcast booth today, as we see Michael Farough at the plate, 27-year-old, turns 28 in August, and he's hit at least 20 home runs in 3 straight seasons between 2016 and 2018. And last year, not just, but 17 home runs for him last year, 56 RBI, and a 705 OPS.
Guy that wasn't able to retain his spot at third base for the Phillies, got forced out by Scott Kingery, but still a very valid major leaguer. You mentioned 20 home runs is nothing to laugh at over there.
Yes, and lots of time spent in Philly. He takes high there, so it's a 1-2 count now as Ryu comes out and deals his second inning of work. And in the first, he allowed a walk to Soler and a single to Merrifield, but a couple strikeouts to Gordon and Dozier. And he's trying to rebound after a tough start in his last game, as we mentioned, against Philadelphia, which he allowed 4 earned. It's just not something you expect from an ace who you're paying $20 million a year to. Swing and miss there as he gets Michael Franco, the leadoff hitter for the Royals. 3rd strikeout on the day now for Ryu.
Well, you can expect the pitching duel theme of this series to continue. So far, both pitchers are looking good. Another breaking ball there on the outer half of the plate. Franco chases down a little bit below the zone to swing right through that one, and that's already 3 strikeouts for Ryu, and Lopez on the other side has 2 of his own.
As Ryan McBroom playing first base, steps in, takes first pitch strike. And the 0-1 from Ryu.
Nope, at the ball.
Taken low and inside, that changeup, so leaving up the count at 1 now. The last game, McBroom goes 1 for 4 with an RBI. Swing and a miss there, now 1-2 as Ryu gets ahead here.
The RBI on his birthday.
The perfect birthday present. Not that one, though. A swing and a miss there. Now 4 strikeouts already in this day for Hyun-Jin Ryu. He is not messing around in this one. Looking to really rebound after that tough outing in Philly, as I've mentioned about 10 times already.
Well, he's looked sharp so far. And I'll tell you what, if there's someone in the stadium today that's trying to hang Ks on the facing of the 200 level, they got a long day ahead of them.
Here's one that could touch the 200 level. Never mind that one. A little high there, and it'll be Anthony Alford going over there fielding that. So 3 up, 3 down here in the second inning, as Ryu looks to be settling in now in this one. Welcome back to the Rogers Center. Remains a scoreless ball game here in the bottom of the second. As we see the center fielder Teoscar Hernandez hitting fifth for the Blue Jays today. They'll lead off this inning, and he's part of a trio of hitters who are going to step up to the plate in the second inning, Drew, who have really, all struggled in their own rights at the plate this season.
You can see the 182 on the screen for Teoscar Hernandez. Not a guy with a great contact tool, and you aren't expecting him to hit 300, but 182 is well below where he finished up last season and well below what will be acceptable if he wants to stay in Montoyo's lineup.
Yeah, Hernandez just 1 for 4 in this series. He's had a couple days off. Swing and miss there on that high fastball offering from Lopez, who gets ahead in the count now, 1-2. Looking for what could be his third strikeout of the day, and he gets it. Swinging miss in there is Hernandez. So a leadoff strikeout in the second for Lopez here.
Up and in with the fastball, he attacks him, and that's going to be an effective pitch because we mentioned he goes to the curveball a lot, so hitters that fastball can really sneak up on them when he's establishing that curveball over and over again. When you jam a guy like that, it's hard to react.
Travis Shaw steps in, takes a first pitch changeup in there for a strike. Shaw once again at first today, and his defensive prowess, not an issue for the Blue Jays. I think that's why they're paying him, and that's why they signed him in the first place. But I think his bat, Drew, is definitely a bit more of a contentious relationship, if you will. Just 7 home runs for the lefty last season after back-to-back 30 home run campaigns in his prior two back in 17 and 18. But this season, a very slow start to his season.
And we'll have to see if facing his former teammate from that 2017 Brewers will spark anything in him to maybe see a turnaround with a good day at the plate today.
Shaw now in a 3-1 count, so he'll be looking to reach here with 1 out and nobody on. And Lopez deals. That one swung on and right to second. It's fielded by Merrifield and thrown. He was playing a little bit in the shift to his right. So 2 away now. Pardon me, that was Mondesi, it looked like. Not sure about that. Someone in the shift. These shifts, Drew, they get so confusing. It was one of Merrifield or Mondesi. No matter what, an excellent play. 2 away now.
And yeah, the exact same thing happened to him yesterday. It was a line drive. Oh, and that one's hit hard by Alford.
And that one is drilled foul, but yes, a little how do you do swing there from Alford. 0-1 now. Takes low and inside there, so now leaving up the count out 1 here.
Talks about how that curveball can allow him to sneak the fastball up and in on hitters, but man, Alford was sitting on that in the first pitch of the at-bat, came up ready for the fastball, he got it, and he was out in front of it.
Alford, lots of tools. Power, potentially one of them. Lots of potential there with his frame and his swing. But just hasn't really had those numbers yet at the big league level. Hasn't really had much success at the plate. Hasn't really been able to stick. We've talked about it numerous times on this network. And this is a great opportunity this season for him to do it. With all the outfield, all the outfield's drama going on, I guess you could say, in Toronto. As he grounds out to the pitcher. So Lopez, 3 up, 3 down for him in the second inning. We head to the third scoreless on the virtual Jays Network. Welcome back, Virtual Jays Network. Here, Rogers Center, top third. Still a scoreless ball game as Bubba Starling, center fielder, hitting number 9 today for the Royals, steps in and slots in as a 4th outfielder this season for the Royals, the 27-year-old. And last game, 1 for 4. He himself also had an RBI, hitting .250 in a very small sample size to start this season. But 5th overall pick back in 2011. by the Royals, so he sure has taken his time to get up here. It's just his second season in the bigs, and the Royals have really found themselves a nice fourth outfielder option at the very least.
Well, what you want in a fourth outfielder is someone that can run a little bit and someone that can play all three outfield positions decently, and Starling brings them that. So even if he can't realize the bat that comes with his prospect potential, at the very least, you mentioned, a fourth outfielder that you can take and is worth a roster spot.
1-2 now. Ryu deals. Swing and a miss there. Wow, strikeout number 5 on the day for the left-hander.
And as you see him cut through that one, I was going to make the comparison. I feel like it's fair to say that there's a lot of similarities between Bubba Starling and Anthony Alford, where they're guys that they've got the talent and they've got the skills and the pedigree, but how long are you going to wait until they realize that in the majors, right? I mean, Starling's a little bit older, but there's still some hope that things will turn around, and Alford's maybe on his last chance as well here in Toronto. There's just, it comes to a point where you got to show it, right?
It's very clear, too, as Mondesi takes inside their 3-0 count to the number 1 hitter, shortstop today for the Royals. But it's very clear, Drew, that neither of these teams are very happy or think very highly, I should say, of either of those two players, Starling or Alford, because they've gone out and found replacements for both of them. As that one's a strike to Mondesi, but, you look at the Royals, they have Jorge Lopez, who has clearly slid in front of Starling in pretty much every aspect, hitting, defense, the whole deal. You're not moving Alex Gordon. And so, you start to look at that Royals team, and it's a little dicey in terms of how you want to shape it, with Bubba Starling trying to get some games out there in center. But he has an opportunity today, and these are the kind of opportunities he'll get. The final days of series or days when, other outfielders need some time off. But I think the same can go for Alford with the Blue Jays as well. But we see Mondesi take a 1-out walk. So now it'll be Alex Gordon, number 2 hitter and left fielder at the plate. He swings on that one, grounds it over to short. It's fielded, thrown to second for 1, and a first for 2. An excellent turn at second there by Panic to get a quick double play to end this quick inning. We head to the bottom of the third, scoreless in Toronto. Well, everyone, welcome back as we see the catcher for the Blue Jays today, Reese McGuire, step in. 25-year-old, 1 for 7 in this series. And 133 on the year.
Oh, that's out.
McGuire gets a chance at the very least to face a right-handed pitcher. First 2 starts, both against lefties throughout his whole career, through the majors and the minors. He's hit righties a whole lot better.
And he sure is, Drew. That one is off the wall. McGuire goes to second, so it's a leadoff double for the number 8 hitter, Reese McGuire.
Great way to start off his day today. Catching 3 straight games behind the plate is no easy task, but he's back there again with the assignments on this Sunday afternoon game, and so far the bat is showing why he made the spot in the lineup.
And now Derek Fisher will try to wow this Sunday afternoon crowd here. You mentioned it, Drew, a beautiful day for baseball. The roof is still closed, but it'll be open very soon in Toronto, I presume. And for now, we're playing in an indoor stadium, and Derek Fisher will try to get something going here to get the stadium on their feet with a runner in scoring position. Swings and misses on that first pitch, fastball offering from Lopez, 0-1.
Fisher is supposed to be in the lineup yesterday, scratched last minute. After the game, Montoyo said there's nothing to worry about, and it was just for precautionary reasons. But he's right back in here today.
So 0-2 now to the left fielder, Fisher, number 9 hitter. Hasn't played in this series so far. Takes low. It's a wild pitch. McGuire tries to advance to third, and he is thrown out. Great defense there from Cam Gallagher.
A great throw right where the tag's supposed to be as he nails him.
And then Lopez follows it up the very next pitch with a strikeout on Derek Fisher. So all of a sudden, there's 2 away now in this 3rd inning.
Well, the throw him out, strike him out, tandem double play by the battery there. Not quite how you usually see it, but a quick way to unravel a leadoff double. And now when the lineup turns over, instead of the double from the 8-hitter giving a chance for Bichette to drive him home, now Bichette's up here with the bases empty.
0 for 1, the shortstop is on the day with a strikeout in the 1st. The leadoff hitter for the Blue Jays. He'll be trying to get on base and generate some offense for the Blue Jays here. Neither team yet to score a run in this one. Strikeout looking there. Wow, Lopez got him looking on that high offering, I should say, a high outside strike zone offering. That'll wrap up the 3rd, remains scoreless here in Toronto. Whit Merrifield steps in, number 3 hitter for the Royals today against Hyun-Jin Ryu, who's up to 41 pitches through 3 innings. He's looked magnificent, though, striking out 5 and only allowing 1 hit and 1 walk so far. And now he'll take on a very good contact hitter, Whit Merrifield. Ryu now in a 1-1 count. Swing and a miss there off of Whit Merrifield, who's had a couple strikes now in this at-bat. All of a sudden, he is behind. Swing and a miss there. And strikeout number 6 on the day for Ryu. Merrifield decided to take a swing at that high offering, and he regrets it now, that's for sure.
And you don't see that very often at all from Merrifield. A guy with great bat skills. He led the league twice in hits, and really, really rare to see him expand the zone that much to chase up high.
As we see Jorge Soler step in, take a first pitch strike up high from Ryu.
And even more puzzling, that was a high changeup from Ryu, which usually isn't the most effective pitch, and oftentimes a more dangerous one that is only there because it's missed its location, but clearly something worked with that one.
And now an 0-2 to Soler. Ryu really being able to deal some strikes early on in this one. There's the offering. That one swung on and lined out right to the shortstop, Bichette, for 2 outs now.
A nice play by Bichette. We didn't get to mention it because it ended the inning, but he had a really nice double play turn to end that last inning there in the top of the 3rd, and doesn't have to move very far for this one at all, but reacts nicely, reaches up, and hauls it in for the 2nd out.
So now we'll see Hunter Dozier, the 8th overall pick back in 2015 by the Royals. And part of this Royals somewhat factory the Royals have, bringing a number of high picks up through the years. Turns 29 in August, 26 home runs in 2019. And he's in a 1-1 count now to Ryu here.
Dozier, the most established of that young group that's come up. He missed out on their competing years, wasn't quite ready back then, but of the group that's come up since, he's by far the most polished hitter.
As that one's popped up over into right field, Alfred has a read on it, makes the routine play. So 3 up, 3 down once again for Ryu here in the 4th. He looks great, and the Blue Jays will try to give him some run support up next. Welcome back, Virtual Jays Network. Jackson Farough and Drew Frank calling this one. Bottom of the fourth, still a scoreless game here in Toronto. Jorge Lopez, his first start of the year, and he's looked really good so far. That was his 43rd pitch, but let's see. He's only allowed one hit and one walk so far, and he's struck out 5. As that one is hit over to the shortstop deep in the hole, and he makes the play. Mondesi, what a play on that one. As Joe Panik is retired, the leadoff hitter for the Blue Jays in this inning.
Well, I was just about to jump in after you said he's only allowed one hit and say make it 2, but Mondesi brings that one back. He was out in the center field grass where he threw that ball from, but throws a strike over the first, and Panik doesn't have much foot speed over there, but a very difficult play for Mondesi to even get to that ball, not to mention stop his momentum and deliver a strike, which he did perfectly.
Some excellent defense from Mondesi, although I think if you're a Royals fan, you're not too surprised by that. He's been doing that for the last couple of years. So a 1-0 count now.
Panik was robbed by a diving catch by Brett Phillips in the last game, and now another victim to the Royals' strong defense.
Panik got on a 1-year deal. You know, he needs those hits whenever he can get them. So, tough for him. He is 0 for 1 on the day with a walk. And now we see Danny Jansen, the usual catcher, but he's a designated hitter today. Hits that one past first base. McBroom unable to make the play, so Jansen reaches, and this could potentially be the start of maybe him getting out of his little funk recently. I know it scored an error on the first baseman, but you reach, right, Drew?
And that's a tough error because that ball was hit hard. A difficult play to read and react in time. It was right at him, but still a difficult play. But as you mentioned, yeah, Danny Jansen hits that ball hard regardless of if he gets credited with a hit or not. And a little bit of a tougher stretch over the past couple days, but again, with a lot of the starters for the Jays getting the day off, he's able to get into a key spot in the order.
Ed Montoyo giving him lots of confidence by saying, okay, I know you're capable of hitting better than this, so I'll throw you in the DH role and put you in the number 3 spot. What confidence, especially for a young player. And he's got a good opportunity to do that today as well against a guy who's making his very first start of the year. As that one is driven foul by Guerrero, so it remains a 1-2 count.
And Jansen's shown Montoyo what he can do just from his first homestand alone, where he was red hot this year.
The 1-2 to Guerrero Jr. Swing and a miss there. Another strikeout for Lopez. 2 away now.
Gets him with the fastball. You can see Guerrero's out in front of that quite a bit, which is surprising because usually that's not what you get when you throw a fastball, especially up to a hitter. His fastball is only going to come around 94, 95, so definitely a strong enough fastball, but not blazing by anyone, but gets the job done against Guerrero Jr. there.
And now Hernandez will try to get a job done. He's already got a strikeout in this one. 1 for 5 in the series with an RBI.
This is only making his second start of the series. Had a couple off days in there as the Jays have really been rotating through their outfielders after running the same lineup back-to-back nights in Philadelphia with all their starters. They've gotten the bench a little more involved here against the Royals.
And especially in a game where you've already taken 2 of 3 in this series. Obviously, you'd like 3 or 4, but early in the season, you need to give these players some rest. It sure is a long season, and for some of these young players, they haven't really had a full year yet to understand that grind that the major leagues truly is. Swinging a drive there by Hernandez into the gap in right center. Oh, and the diving play to no avail. That one's off the wall. Starling tried to be a hero, and he couldn't do it. Instead, Hernandez with a triple and an RBI. It's 1-0 Blue Jays.
He's going to get in there safely at third, easily. Almost a very impressive catch by Starling. I was surprised he even got anywhere near that one. He lays out, just about gets it, but Teoscar Hernandez pretty quick on his feet, able to scamper into third. And now with 2 away, Shaw might be able to drive in another run here for the Jays.
And what an effort from Hernandez. You know, after the strikeout, he's had a really slow start to the year. He could have said, you know what, it's a Sunday. I've already hit poor this year. This one just might not be my day. Instead, he goes out and hits himself a triple into the gap and an RBI. as that one is grounded up to the pitcher. Shaw is retired, but not before the Blue Jays score the first run of this ball game. It's 1-0 here in Toronto as we head to the 5th. Welcome back to the Virtual Jays Network. If you just missed the last half of the inning, well, the Blue Jays scored the first run of the ball game off of Danny Jansen was able to reach with one out on what was actually ruled an error on the first baseman, Ryan McBroom. So Jansen was at first, and then with 2 away, Teoscar Hernandez belts a ball into right center, off the wall, past a diving Starling. So he was able to drive home that run and got himself a triple as well. Unearned on Lopez because of the error. But nonetheless, it's a 1-0 ball game here, and Hernandez potentially pulling himself out of that funk a little bit. At least in the right direction, that's for sure.
And it's difficult to start much of a rally with 2 away, especially with just the runner on first. But one of the advantages you have there is the center fielder, Starling, was about a foot away from catching that, but Jansen's able to score all the way from first because he doesn't have to think about tagging up with the 2 outs. He can run on contact, and he scores all the way from first as a result.
And now as Ryu gets settled in for his 5th inning of work here. He's in a 3-1 count to Maikel Franco, who's 0 for 1 on the day with a strikeout. Takes low and inside there for strike number 2, it's called. So full count now. Payoff pitch. Swung on and fouled off.
Well, the last time Franco was up, he struck out on the slider on the outside that he went out to try and get. You can see Ryu coming back again with the slider. Couple fouled off pitches by Franco. Let's see where they go now.
Payoff pitch misses just outside. Franco gets the call. Ryu doesn't like the call, but it's a leadoff walk to Franco here.
And that's the second walk allowed by Ryu. First one came to Jorge Soler, where he fell behind 3-0 and wasn't able to battle back. This one a lot more of a battle between him and Franco, but a leadoff walk is always dangerous.
And now it'll be Ryan McBroom stepping in and taking inside for ball 1. Ryu looking to navigate himself out of some trouble here, and here's a chance. That one's grounded short, over to second for 1 and a first for 2. Bichette and Panic turn another double play, and all of a sudden there's 2 out here in the 5th.
Their second double play grounded into in just 5 innings, and that's impressive because they've only had 3 base runners, and 2 of them have gone down to the twin killing already.
Yeah, some tough luck there, but also some excellent defense from the Blue Jays. So now it'll be Cam Gallagher, who made a really good throw out earlier in this one back in the 3rd. After a wild pitch, Cam Gallagher wasn't really able to corral it, but then he actually is able to get to it rather quickly after losing it. Reese McGuire tries to go from second to third. Gallagher does a great job of just, perking up, setting, and making an absolute missile throw over to third, and they eventually got the tag, so McGuire was out, and then the very next pitch, Fisher struck out, so some excellent defense from Gallagher, potentially saving some runs, as he fouls that pitch off now 1-2.
Always good when you can get an out on the bases when in defense, because with the runner in second with less than 2 outs, you've got to figure that the Jays might have had a chance of manufacturing that run, and we're still just in a 1-0 game. Any runner you can wipe off the bases has the potential of really swinging the whole game.
Taken inside and high there, evens up the count at 2 now. To the number 8 hitter, the catcher for the Royals today. Here's the 2-2, swing and a miss there. Ryu, another strikeout for him. And it'll be technically a 3-up, 3-down inning. Although there was a little bit of drama in this inning. Nonetheless, Ryu gets out of it by just facing 3 batters. Means a 1-0 ball game here at the Rogers Center. Ryu looking excellent here. Well, welcome back to the Virtual Jays Network. Jackson Farough alongside Drew Frank as Anthony Alford, playing right field for the Blue Jays today, steps in and swings and misses on a first pitch of the at-bat. A high offering from Lopez. We see some action in the bullpen here. Jesse Hahn and Chance Adams, who both have had excellent outings in this series so far. But to be honest, Drew, I mean, Lopez, he's looked fine so far as he gets Alford to ground out to second there, 1 away now.
Well, exactly right. You figure that there's got to be some leash allowed to Lopez. He's deserved it so far. A quick out from Alford to add on to what's been an impressive 4 complete innings. Just the one little miscue on an unearned run against him last inning, but other than that, he's been spotless.
So now Reese McGuire, who hit a double back in the third, steps in with 1 out. Checks his swing, but they're going to say it was a strike regardless. And last game, McGuire 0 for 3 with a strikeout. Hasn't really been able to stick yet, even really at the major league level, I'll be honest with you, Drew. But Toronto gives him a real opportunity to do so. He's in a battle at catcher with Danny Jansen, but with Jansen's batting struggles, here's a chance for McGuire to step in. He's been in the series a couple times now. What an opportunity for him as he's in a 1-2 count.
We're touching on it just before he hit his double of how he's able to at least get a favorable platoon matchup. Tough lefties, Montgomery and Duffy, with hard breaking balls. That's tough for a lefty bat to deal with. But today, against the righty, a bit of a tougher matchup, a bit of a more favorable matchup, but here Lopez prevails.
Sure does. That high offering gets McGuire to swing and miss. Is that 7 strikeouts on the day for Lopez? Am I reading that right, Drew?
He's been locked in, yeah. He's picked up 2 strikeouts now in both the first and the third inning, and Fisher already a victim. He's looking to do that again here in the 5th.
Yes, Fisher, as you mentioned, struck out in the third. And now with 2 on, or 2 out rather, and nobody on, he fouls off that offering from Lopez to quickly get into an 0-2 count here.
Lopez coming right at the number 9 hitter here so far.
Not messing around, that's for sure. That slider missing well low and inside. Ball number 1.
And we can't understate how good he's looked. A career 6.3 ERA in his 2 years with the Royals. I mean, this is almost coming out of nowhere with how good he's looked today, as showing signs of a Cy Young candidate if he can keep this up.
All right, well, that's your voting card, not mine, Drew. But as Lopez is in a 2-2 count now to the number 9 hitter, Fisher. That one missing low, that knuckle curve just not quite on the plate yet, really all this game. I think he uses it to go low. Regardless, it's a full count to Fisher. The payoff pitch. Driven foul, but it'll remain a full count here.
Just the 2 hits allowed so far. The loud triple by Jansen and the loud double by McGuire.
That one gets that low corner of the zone. The ump calls it, so now 2 strikeouts on the day for Fisher. As we head to the 6th, both pitchers looking great, but it's the Blue Jays who are up 1-0 on the Virtual Jays Network. Hello, everyone, and welcome back. Virtual Jays Network, Jackson Fair alongside Drew Frank in the broadcast booth. We're going to see Bubba Starling come up for his second at-bat of the game. Struck out back in the third. And he hasn't had many opportunities this season. Only 5 plate appearances. He's 1 for 5 in them. And, of course, one of them happened to be his last one back in the third inning. As that one is driven out into center field, and it'll be a base hit. Hernandez has some trouble fielding it, and he'll throw it in, and oh, wow, look at that. Bubba Starling gets himself a leadoff double. Some good base running and also an error in center.
Well, he hits it to his counterpart out in center. We saw Starling almost make a great play to save a run if he was able to haul in what ended up being a triple back a couple innings ago, what eventually gave the Jays the 1-0 marker, but shows off his speed a little bit there as he drives that one into center field and alertly picks up the extra base.
As Modesty steps in for his third plate appearance of the day, takes inside, and it's 2-0. He's going to walk in the third, and he grounded out to second back in the first. Made an excellent play at shortstop earlier in this game. Went right up the middle. It was looking like it was going to be a base hit from, I believe it was Travis Shaw, but an excellent play by Modesty at short. He's been doing that his whole career. As he grounds out there to third.
Tough play for Guerrero a little bit because the chopper on the ground is hit pretty hard at him, and he had to play in with Modesty's speed, respecting the potential of a bunt. So he was a little under 90 feet, but pretty much just even with that third base bag when that was hit hard on the ground over to him, and might have looked like a routine ground ball, but harder than you might expect.
So now Alex Gordon steps in, and he's 0 for 2 on the day, grounded out into a double play back in the third. With a runner in scoring position, he's got a chance to tie this thing up. And that one will get away from McGuire, but the runner is unable to advance there. Starling, that is, so he'll have to stay at second. McGuire doing a good job of corralling that. 1-1 missing outside, now 2-1 here as Ryu tries to navigate out of a little bit of trouble here. 2-1 swung on, fouled off.
Gordon struck out and grounded into a double play, so not an overly successful day so far against Ryu.
The 2-2 swung on, fouled off.
Having quite a battle here, though, so far.
Sure is, and 2 veterans in this battle. A couple lefties as well, as that one is flown into left center. Fisher there to make the play, turns and throws. So Starling is not able to advance, and now there's 2 out for Ryu here in the 6th.
And even though the runner remains at second, he's still dangerous out there because with the speed he's got at second base and the fact that there's 2 outs, he'll be running on contact. You see, if Merrifield can get anything into the outfield and reach base anywhere, then you've got to figure Starling's got a pretty good chance of scoring.
You see Whit Merrifield step in and foul off that first pitch offering. It wasn't too far from our broadcast booth, Drew. Keep your head on a swivel. And 0-1 now to Merrifield. Swing and a miss there. Puts this count at 0-2. Ryu just 1 pitch away from getting out of this inning. As Merrifield takes well inside there.
Now working ahead again. Not messing around. We've seen 3 walks from Ryu, but other than that, to just about every other batter in the lineup, he's really attacked and been ahead of the count most of the night.
Merrifield, quite the warrior. Played 162 games last year, and the year before 158. So he stays healthy, he's durable, and he's reliable as an excellent contact hitter. He hit over 300 last year and also was an all-star.
And that's one of the reasons you saw him lead the league in hits and steals twice. You play a lot, you're going to tally those counting stats.
Takes inside, evens up the count at 2 now.
In the strikeout back in the 4th inning, Ryu changed speeds and got him way out in front on a high changeup. We haven't seen a changeup in the last few pitches, mostly fastballs and sliders.
Merrifield once again taking inside. I count that the 3rd pitch well inside that Ryu's missed here. So it's a full count. 2 away. And Ryu misses low there. So Merrifield will get a free base over there at first. Still 2 out, obviously. But now Jorge Soler, a real power hitter. He's 0 for 1 on the day with a walk. Got a chance to give the Royals some offense here.
And that 0 for 1 showed some muscle as he hit that one right to Bo Bichette, but if Bichette was looking the other way, that would have taken his head off. It was a line out, but he really squared that one up.
And the American League home run champ in 2019 steps in, takes the first pitch ball. Ryu looking to get out of a tough situation here. He gets a swing and a miss on that. Slow offering there low in the zone, so it evens up the count at 1. That one swung on right back up to the pitcher. Ryu's able to knock it down and throw out Soler. So after allowing a single who advanced to second plus a walk, Ryu was able to get out of it. Just 2 hits allowed on the day and no runs allowed. It's 1-0 Toronto as we head to the bottom of the 6th.
Your attention, please.
Well, welcome back as we see Chance Adams step in, the first reliever out of the pen in this ball game for the Royals, and we saw him earlier in this series.
Well, he was the first of 2 really strong multi-inning relief appearances from the Royals. We saw him Friday night. He came in to relieve Danny Duffy, and he went 2 2/3, allowing just 1 hit without giving up any runs. So a very strong day from Chance Adams. We mentioned a former highly touted Yankees prospect that just couldn't figure it out. Never was able to convert in the major leagues, and the Royals have taken a flyer on him now in a relief role.
Starts off with a 2-0 count to Bichette, the shortstop, leading off this inning. He's got 2 strikeouts on the day, 1 looking, 1 swinging. Swings at that one, fouls it off past the first base line. 2-1 now.
And part of what makes Chance Adams so effective from what we've seen so far is the fact that he has a true 5-pitch mix as a former starter.
It's a really good point, Drew. It gives him a lot of opportunity to get out of innings in a variety of fashions and also target hitters in different ways. As you mentioned, a very valuable bullpen piece, in part because of that.
Well, and that's what enables him to go multiple innings, because he went through the full lineup of the Jays, and you're going to have more success facing multiple batters when you've got more than just the typical 2-pitch relief pitcher.
3rd strikeout of the day for Bo Bichette. And the first hitter that Chance Adams faces is retired. They're 1 away now.
In on the hands, can't catch up to that fastball as Adams continues what's been a good 2020. Again, he's only worked in this is only his 2nd game. He made his season debut against the Jays on Friday night, but maybe a bit of a bounce back. We talked about how Alford and Starling were guys that came up and the tools were there. They couldn't convert it, and they've got to, or they're running out of time. Well, throw Adams in that pile too, because he's aging and he's not this prospect anymore, but he's still got the stuff.
As that one is flown down left field, it'll get down for a base hit. So a 1-out single for Joe Panik, who has looked excellent in Toronto this season. The fans are really starting to come around to one of their new middle infielders, and he does an excellent job of using the whole ballpark on that hit there.
And that's his MO, a true spray hitter. He doesn't try and pull it to try and get every ounce of power he can. He's happy just slicing it over there for a single. He's reached in 2 of his 3 plate appearances today, and the only one he didn't reach was that phenomenal play by Adalberto Mondesi, where he ranged up the middle to rob him of a single.
So now it'll be Danny Jansen, 0 for 2 in the day. Although he did reach in the 4th. Came around to score, actually, on what was tallied as an error by McBroom at first. Grounds over to 3rd, to 2nd for 1, to 1st for 2. So Danny Jansen this time grounds into an inning-ending double play. Excellent turn there. Started at 3rd by Dozier and continued at 2nd. Hunter Dozier steps up to the plate. Now we see some action in the Blue Jays bullpen. Anthony Bass and Thomas Pannone warming. Makes a lot of sense with Anthony Bass being the clear setup man in this Jays bullpen, and Thomas Pannone kind of assuming a lot of 7th inning duties. As we'll see Dozier, Franco, and McBroom in this inning.
Both those guys have shown thus far that Montoyo can trust them. Of course, the setup man, but also Pannone has looked good in the outings he's thrown so far, and on top of having a pretty successful spring down in Dunedin.
And how about Ryu so far? Looking excellent. He's allowed just, by my count, 2 hits. A couple walks here and there, but maybe 3 walks on the day, but 4 walks rather. For the most part, it's been a good day for Ryu thus far. And the biggest factor is that he hasn't allowed a run yet. That big donut on the board for the Royals is the big factor in this one, especially considering the Jays' offense hasn't exactly been cooking either.
Well, and the man trying to change that big donut, Hunter Dozier, he had a great defensive play in the last half inning to end it by stopping a ground ball that was hit hard down the line. Could have been extra bases if he didn't snag it. Instead, picks it cleanly and starts an inning-ending double play.
So Ryu up to 94 pitches now. He's in a 2-2 count with Dozier. And Ryu, a guy who's capable of certainly going past that 100-pitch plateau. And he'll most likely be doing that today unless he runs into some serious trouble in the 7th early here.
Well, he went just 5 in his last outing and had an off day in there.
And he gets himself another strikeout. And this one is 8th on the day. And he retires the leadoff hitter in this inning, Dozier.
That breaking ball is really effective from the lefty in on the righties. Dozier tries to go down and to scoop it out as it's down and in below the zone. Doesn't manage to get a piece of it, and after a long battle, he is retired.
So Dozier has 2 strikeouts on the day now, both swinging. As we see Maikel Franco, 3 for 10 in the series with a homer. Takes inside, 1-1 now.
I was going to say that Franco's got a strikeout today, but 7 of these 9 Royals do. There's only just Mondesi and Merrifield yet to strike out. Sorry, rather, scratch that. Soler and Mondesi that haven't struck out yet. Everyone else has already fallen victim to Ryu today, and he's not done yet.
Franco in a 2-2. Takes low there, so it's a full count. And we've seen on that last pitch, a lot of these hitters are swinging at that, going for that low breaking ball. And a lot of them are missing on it, I'll tell you that. Franco decides to take there. Clearly something that they're talking about in that Royals dugout. Here's the payoff pitch from Ryu. Swung on and fouled off once again. Got ourselves a battle at the plate here.
And these Royals hitters are making Ryu work because he doesn't have that blazing fastball to burn it by him. He has to work on the edge of the zone, and they're doing a great job to spoil.
Another spoil there. 8 pitches in this at-bat now, as Ryu is well over 100 pitches now. The next pitch will be 105 for him, as the Blue Jays bullpen continues to work.
Nope, that's inside.
One away, and now Franco gets himself a walk. As we see Ryu surrender. Now his 5th walk on the day. So, Ryu's had a good start today. Obviously no runs allowed yet, just 2 hits. But I think one blemish could certainly be the walks.
Well, that's what would be alarming, and that's what will end his day here today. The commands, hard to point to it as a problem because a lot of those walks came from deep at-bats where they worked him and worked him and worked him until he left the zone as he did there. But now he's also going to leave the game to the cheers and applause of this Jays stadium that appreciates the pitching duel they've seen so far today.
As we see Sam Gaviglio, it'll be his 2nd appearance this season, and he'll go up against McBroom, Gallagher, and potentially Starling if needed. The 7-8-9 hitters, so good opportunity for Gaviglio here, but also for these Royals hitters to potentially, with a fresh pitcher into this game, an opportunity to really jump on him and possibly tie this thing up.
And 3 guys coming up now that haven't had much going against Ryu. A combined 1 for 9 on the day so far, including a trio of strikeouts and a double play grounded into. So it'll start here with McBroom to see if that'll change.
Swings and misses on that high slider there from Gaviglio, well outside, but swung on, as I mentioned. So it's a 1-1 count. McBroom 0 for 2 in the day, grounded to a double play back in the 5th, and a strikeout swinging in the 2nd. He's playing first, made an error back in the 4th inning. Swings on that one, fouls it off.
That error, of course, came around to score the Jays' only run so far this game, so costly. I still think it was a tough error to stick him on. It was hit quite hard, but nonetheless, the only run that's come to score.
That one's in there for a strike and a strikeout. So McBroom watches that one go by. A great job by Gaviglio to paint and pick that corner, that bottom outside corner of the plate. It's a 2 away now for Cam Gallagher, who's 0 for 2 in the day with a strikeout and a flyout to right.
Especially nice. You don't see a changeup spotted quite as nicely all that often as Gaviglio did right there. It's an off-speed pitch, and I looked like he assumed it was going to drop down below the knees, but he keeps it high enough to just catch the bottom of the zone for the caught looking there for the first batter he faces.
So Gallagher takes inside to make this count 2-0. Bit of a hitter's count now. And his bottom of the lineup, not doing much today. I mean, Bubba Starling with a single, which he was able to advance to second on the air in center. But other than that, 4 strikeouts for this bottom part of the order, and also a ground out into a double play. 2-1 now to Gallagher. Swings on that one, fouls it off, evens up the count at 2.
Gaviglio gets the assignment of 3 righties here. Over his career, he's kept righties to a OPS 40 points lower than lefties, so Montoyo playing the matchups a little bit as he faces his 2nd of 3 righties now.
That one taken low in the dirt there, so makes the count full with 2 away and a runner on first. As Gaviglio tries to keep this inning clean for what was an inning started by Ryu. As that one is driven into right, it'll get down for a base hit. 1st and 2nd now with that 2-out single from Gallagher, his first hit of the day.
Nice piece of hitting there. After a long battle, he works the count full, and a point where Gaviglio's got to come into the zone. Don't want to be walking another batter, so he challenges him with the fastball, but he catches a lot of the middle of the plate as that one's just about middle, and Gallagher takes it to the opposite field to keep the inning alive.
So now it'll be Bubba Starling with 2 on and 2 out on top of the 7th. And a great opportunity for him as I just mentioned, in his last at-bat, he reached on a single into center, which turned into 2 bases off of an error in center, as that one picks the inside part of the plate. McGuire loves it, and so does this crowd.
Potentially a big spot for the Royals here. Just 7 outs left to play with, and they need only 1 run to tie it.
And here's a great opportunity, but now Starling's in an 0-2 count, so Gaviglio with a real opportunity here to try to get out of this inning. A good count for him. Misses outside, 1-2 now.
Well, in Gaviglio, his splits against righties were even better last year than as his career as a whole. The OPS against righties just .662, as opposed to lefties up around .800.
1-2 from Gaviglio. Swung on and ground up towards first. Shaw fields, and that'll wrap things up. So Gaviglio navigates around, allowing a couple runners to reach, or just one run to reach, or one runner to reach rather. As we stretch in Toronto, it remains 1-0 for the Blue Jays. Welcome back to the Rogers Center. Vlad Guerrero Jr. 0 for 2 in the day with a strikeout and a groundout. He's had a good start to this season, though. He's hitting .278, .444 slugging. And he's played good defense, he's getting on base a good amount. And now, leading off this inning, trying to get on and try to extend this lead. As the Blue Jays are now into their bullpen. And so are the Royals. Chance Adams deals a first pitch strike.
And I'd say for Vlad Guerrero Jr., at least thus far, he's answered a lot of the questions that people have asked about him after his rookie season. How will his defense hold up? Is he in good enough shape to be able to play almost every day? How is his bat? There was a few strikeout problems in his rookie year. Is he walking enough? And so far, so good. His defense especially is a standout, but he's even really cut down the strikeouts on the Jays team that's been filled with them.
0-2 to the third baseman, taken outside for a ball. Here comes the 1-2 from Adams. Swing and a miss there. Strikeout number 2 on the day for Chance Adams.
Well, 2 for Adams, and that's 2 for Guerrero now. Both of them on that high heat. The fastball up and in. He was beaten by Lopez back in the 4th inning, right before the triple from Hernandez, and now Hernandez is going to be back seeing what he's got after another Guerrero strikeout.
Pops that one up over to the shallow right field. And Merrifield there to make the play. So 2 away now, quickly, for Travis Shaw, who's 0 for 2 in the day.
And this is what Chance Adams did in the first game he pitched, where he came in to pitch the late innings after the Royals were already trailing. And it might have gone under the radar to some, but he's doing it again here where he's not wasting time. He's coming right at the hitters, not walking guys, not messing around, attacking, and it's worked so far.
Count 1-0.
We'll see if he can finish this inning off against Travis Shaw, the lefty. 0 for 2 in the day. And he's got some serious power potential. We've seen it in this building a couple times. And that one is taken high, but it'll get in there for a strike to even up the count at 1 now.
And Adams relieving Lopez earlier in the game. Lopez, a quite nice line himself, going 5 innings of 2-hit ball. The 1 run allowed was unearned, walking just 1 batter, and the big number, 8 strikeouts.
Number 1-2. Swung on and fouled off by Shaw. He stays alive now. That one taken high and in there. Evens up the count at 2. And Adams' next pitch will be his 20th. Although, as you mentioned, Drew, former starter, he's got a big repertoire, so pitch count isn't a big deal for him or Mike Matheny, the Royals manager. 2-2 to Shaw. Taken just high above the zone. Makes this count full now. Ball number 3.
And Shaw, nice work to battle all the way back from 1-2. Full count now.
Swung on, popped up into the infield on the right side of the infield. Looks like the first baseman Brune has a read, and he does. So 3 up, 3 down once again for Chance Adams, who's looked excellent in relief here. As we head now to the 8th inning, the Royals trying to mount a bit of a comeback here.
Ladies and gentlemen, your attention please.
And now we'll see the setup man for the Blue Jays, a routine at this point in the season early on still, but Anthony Bass has earned this role. So he goes out there in what is his 7th appearance this season, and he's looked magnificent. He'll take on the 1-2-3 hitters for the Royals here.
And now this is 3 days in a row we've seen him. Friday night he came in just to face one batter and induced the strikeout, working, well, I guess you could call maximum efficiency. One batter up, one batter down as he came in to strike out O'Hearn to end the 7th. We saw him again yesterday pitching 2/3 of an inning, again coming in to put out a fire, but he did it nicely, striking out Perez and getting, striking out Perez and getting Dozier to ground into an easy put out. So 2 nice relief appearances as he's looking for his 3rd.
Mondesi for 2 in the day with a walk back in the 3rd. In a 2-0 count now. Takes low there, makes this count 3-0. Bass looking to avoid dealing a leadoff walk, and he does for now as he gets that fastball right up the middle for strike number 1.
Taking all the way there. That was middle fastball, but didn't even swing.
And that one swung on over into right center field. Hernandez makes the play. Great job by the center fielder arranging to his left. And 1 away now in the 8th.
Nice play so far in the outfield. 3 guys that are almost in different positions than normal. Usually the 2 corner outfielders are more bench players, and Teoscar Hernandez himself, who's in center, is usually in the corner. So a different look outfield today for the Jays, but they've had no problems out there.
As Gordon steps in, takes the first pitch strike on the inside part of the plate from Bass. And the 0-1 is swung on, stung right over to second. Panic catches it on the liner, so now quickly 2 out. Bass just 7 pitches in here.
And the final line for today's starter for the Blue Jays, Hyun-Jin Ryu, goes 6 1/3 of scoreless baseball, allowing just 2 hits and striking out an 8 to match Lopez. The big problem for him were the 5 walks he allowed, though. That's eventually what led to him being pulled.
Hey, you know what? He didn't allow any runs, and you look at the scoreboard, the reason that it's still 1-0 is because of Ryu's excellent outing today. Yes, the 5 walks, but you know what? Kansas City also has had a very good approach at the plate all day long.
Nope.
So a 1-1 now to Whit Merrifield, who is 1 for 2 on the day with a walk back in the 6th. Takes low and outside and gets ahead in the count now 2-1. Another pitch taken just outside. Bass not getting that call.
Good take from Merrifield. Right on the corner, and easy when you're late in the game trying to spark something to expand the zone a little bit, but he lays off nicely.
No, that's it. Ball four.
So that one's taken inside. Merrifield gets himself a 2-out walk, the second of the day
Now batting.
for Jorge Soler. With the runner on first base now, the chance to tie this thing up or even take the lead. Slow start to his season, but 2 home runs, a 5 RBI, and the RBI, what he's really looking for in this at-bat.
And nice for Merrifield there to work a walk as the pitch out, but nothing going. Merrifield just 1 for his last 8 over the past 2 days. Wasn't able to get too much going these past couple games, but now back-to-back walks after a single for him in the first inning, and he's doing what he needs to do to get on board for Jorge Soler.
Whit Merrifield, of course, a threat on the base paths, known to steal a bag or two. Swing and a miss from Soler there. Evens up the count at 1 now. Merrifield, 45 stolen bases in 2018. As there's another swing and a miss. Soler taking some deep cuts. But he's now in a 1-2 jam here. And that one this time is right up the middle. Bichette Fields flips to second for the force out. Great defense today up the middle from the Blue Jays. They show it off again there to retire Soler and get out of the 8th inning. And it remains a 1-0 ball game on the virtual Jays Network. Welcome back to the Rogers Center, the virtual Jays Network. It's a 1-0 ball game as the Jays are, well, just 3 outs away from taking 3 of 4 in this series, and they'd love to do that. They're 10-5 on the season. They've had a really good start, and they're going to try to keep building to that. And you go series by series. I mean, they've had all their series so far, whether it was the opener against the Red Sox or against the Reds. Really, their only bad series has been their 2-gamer against the Phillies, which they dropped both of, but good starts for really both these teams this season. They're both over 500. And Blue Jays on the verge of adding to that, as I mentioned already. And Chance Adams, in now his 3rd inning of work. He's had 6 up, 6 down. And a 2-1 count now to Alford. 2-2 now.
He continues to attack the fastball in the zone there after Alford showed bunt the pitch before, taking all the way there.
Takes inside, ball number 3, now a full count to the leadoff hitter, Alford. That one swung on up the first base line, but McBroom was able to field it on the backhand and make a good defensive play to retire the leadoff hitter, Alford.
And even though it didn't work out for him there with a base hit or able to reach base, he's been working lots of deep counts down in the bottom of the order. He's drawn a couple walks over this series so far, and even when he hasn't, again, seeing the pitcher quite well, working deep into counts and showing a bit more experience than you might expect from a hitter who hasn't been around the league too much, as he's really battling these pitchers.
And now Reese McGuire in 0-1 count takes inside, ball number 1. He's 1 for 2 on the day, had a double back in the 3rd, although ended up getting thrown out at 3rd base when he was trying to advance off a wild pitch. Swings through that one, so it's a 1-2 count to the catcher.
And I'm sure if he knew that by the time he's up to bat next in the 8th inning, not bat next, but just the fact that in the 8th inning the Jays are still only have 3 hits, I bet you he would have been a lot more careful running on the bases.
No question about that. A lesson you always got to learn the hard way. A 2-2 pitch from Adams. Well inside there. McGuire actually had to pull his elbow back. He decides to stare down the mound. Full count now. Gallagher set up outside, but that one creeps into the zone. McGuire swings and hits that one over to second, but a great defensive play from Whit Merrifield there, ranging far to his right. Fields, jumps, throws, and gets the out. Second out of this inning, nobody on.
Thursday night's game was littered with all sorts of poor defense on the infield. We saw both second basemen and both shortstops for the Jays and Royals committing errors tonight. This afternoon it's been the exact opposite. Beautiful play by Bichette this past inning. Beautiful play by Merrifield right there. And Mondesi's made a couple highlight reel plays himself.
We see Derek Fisher 0 for 2 in the day with a couple strikeouts.
1 ball, 1 strike.
Try to get something going now. Tack on some offense. Blue Jays would love to do that. Although they have an excellent closer in Ken Giles that they trust, and they should. He's perfect on the year and save opportunities. But first, Derek Fisher, the 2-1 now. Swings and misses there, evens up the count at 2. As Adams looks to try to get through 3 straight innings without allowing any base runners, except for a single from Panic, but that eventually was a double play. So he's got the chance here, Adams does, to go 9 up, 9 down, and only allowing 1 single.
And only the struggling Fisher stands in his way. Fisher entered the game 1 for 10 without too many opportunities this season, but he's added on to that with 2 more putouts, 1 for 12 now on the season, not doing himself any favors trying to work his way off the bench.
3 strikeouts on the day for Derek Fisher, as Chance Adams goes through 3 innings clean and gives the Royals some excellent relief, but they got to tack on a run here and tie things up as we head to the 9th.
Your attention, please.
So it'll be Ken Giles, who is 8 for 8 this season in save opportunities, an ERA of 0, and he's looked excellent in literally every appearance he's had. As a closer, coming over from Houston a couple years ago to Toronto in that big Osuna trade, and he looked excellent last year. He's continuing it to start this year. He's got another opportunity now against the Royals, and starts things off with a strike to Dozier.
And it'll be 5, 6, 7 that he's facing. He pitched both on Thursday and Friday, picked up the save in both of those close games, and 2 different innings for him. The first game, it was 3 up, 3 down with a pair of strikeouts. Yesterday, allowing 2 base runners and getting dicey with the winning run on base, but pulled through both times.
And 3 pitches, 3 strikes on the leadoff hitter of the 9th inning, Hunter Dozier, who gets a strikeout swinging. So this is a hitless trio that Giles has to go up against. The only time any of these 3 have reached is on a Maikel Franco couple walks in the 5th and the 7th, and we'll see him now. But Giles, a really good opportunity for him. That one taken just high above the zone, 1-0 now.
We saw on the screen Giles leading the American League in saves. Also in the top 5, Taylor Rogers of the Twins. He'll be here tomorrow night as the Twins travel to Toronto, 7 o'clock for the first game. The first of 3. They'll be here Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday.
As that one is driven into left field. And Fisher ranging back a little bit, and he makes the play. 2 away now. as Ryan McBroom, the first baseman, 0 for 3 on the day with a couple strikeouts and a ground out, no double play, is the Royals' final out of this series.
Well, and they've got 1 out left to play with before they too hit the road. They'll be heading back to Kansas City. They've got a game tomorrow night hosting the White Sox for the first of 3.
As McBroom steps in, it takes outside, ball 1.
McBroom managed to get on base with a single in the first game back on Thursday, but then was benched both game 2 and 3 of the series as O'Hearn played first base. He's back here tonight, yet to reach base.
Swing and a miss there. McBroom is now in a 1-2 count. Giles on the verge of finishing this thing off if he can. Here's the 1-2, that one missing low. Evens up the count at 2. That fastball running around 98 today. And how did we get here? Well, it's only a 1-0 ball game. Both starters were very excellent, Lopez and Ryu. And Teoscar Hernandez had an RBI triple to put the Blue Jays up 1-0. And that will be the winning run as Ken Giles gets the save. 3 up, 3 down for him in the 9th. Ryu gets the win, and the Blue Jays advance to 11-5 and take 3 of 4 of this weekend series against the Royals.
And exactly how Montoyo draws it up. If you're planning this game, you see Ryu on the mound, you want him to keep it low scoring, you want a bounce back performance from your ace, you get both those things. Your bullpen comes in, doesn't give up a run. It's a combined shutout to seal the deal and win this 4-game series 3-1.
So the Royals fall now to 8-7 on the year. Just 3 hits allowed for both teams' pitchers today. The pitching was excellent. Both teams do also commit 1 error. But, all in all, the defense was much better today. Some nice plays in the infield. But some very good pitching from both Jorge Lopez and Hyun-Jin Ryu, especially early on.
And if you're looking at this from a Royals perspective, this is a pretty impressive series. Of course, you lose 3 of 4, and you never want to see that, but they win the opener, and then the next 3 games are all very close pitching duels where they force Ken Giles to come into all 3 games. They mount the winning run on base in yesterday's game. They are only 1 run away from tying it up here, and a very close series all the way through. And this 3-1 series definitely not as decisive as it might look because of those pitching performances that we saw from both teams.
And certainly not an ideal series in terms of the win-loss for the Royals, but as you mentioned, Drew, definitely some valuable building blocks in place for what is a pretty young team and a team that's still looking to find that identity. But Teoscar Hernandez, he had really struggled this year, and he had been benched actually in the first 2 of 3 games in this series already. Comes in, starts in center field. Montoyo gives him an opportunity, and he takes advantage, going 1 for 3 with a huge triple back in the 4th inning, which was the only RBI of the day.
Well, not much more to say than that. 1-0, and the 1 run came off of his bat, brought Jansen home all the way from first base. Otherwise, a pretty quiet night for the Jays, a pretty quiet afternoon for the Jays. Sun hasn't quite set yet here in Toronto. Same thing for the offense for the Royals, and what decided this game, 3 hits. The one from Teoscar Hernandez just happened to be with a runner on base, and that's what sealed the deal.
The Jays bullpen, very effective in this one as well, obviously, with Sam Gaviglio comes in, finishes off the 7th, and then Anthony Bass, the setup man, clean inning. Does allow a walk, but nonetheless gets out of it without allowing any runs. And then Ken Giles 3 out, 3 down with a couple strikeouts. Speak a bit to especially this back end of the bullpen. I think it's giving the Blue Jays a lot of confidence from a pitching staff standpoint.
Well, and it was all series long, not just tonight. Tonight we saw 3 relievers come in. We saw 4 yesterday. We saw 3 more on Thursday. And there was 3 more than that on the Friday night game. So everybody getting in, and all of those innings of work combined for just 1 run allowed. It was just a Yamaguchi solo home run given up to Maikel Franco. Other than that, all of those outings from relievers were scoreless. So if you're looking at a big trend, sure, the pitching overall, but the bullpen you mentioned, if you're trying to focus in on what the strengths were, for the Jays, it was the fact that everyone was pitching in, and no pun intended, everyone contributing, should I say, to what was a great effort in run prevention. And on the Royals, you've got two standout performers, Jesse Hahn going 3 1/3 with no runs allowed, and Chance Adams, we saw him twice, 2 great relief appearances without allowing a run.
So a very successful and productive series for the Blue Jays as they take 3 of 4, as I mentioned, advance to 11-5 now on the season. And they'll try to build on that as they host the Minnesota Twins up next, a very familiar face coming to town. Well, it's only the 2015 AL MVP, Josh Donaldson, the newly signed Twin. So that'll be a very fun series, and we'll have all that coverage for you on the Virtual Jays Network. For Jackson Farough and Drew Frank, we appreciate you joining us today on your Sunday afternoon for some baseball. The Blue Jays take it 1-0 in an excellent pitching display, and they'll look to continue what has been a very hot start to their season tomorrow in the Game 1 against Minnesota. Have a great night, everyone.